Hey everybody and welcome back to yet another video. Today is an exciting one. It has just been announced that a brand new Ghost Recon game is coming out, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which in my opinion is a true sequel to Wildlands. So today we're just gonna go through everything they've talked about, kind of analyze everything that they've said, and take a deep dive into some of the features and all that sort of stuff, all the goodness that is gonna come out of Ghost Recon Breakpoint. So if you guys are excited for this, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you have been watching my channel for a while, you probably know that I did a lot, and I mean a lot, of Ghost Recon Wildlands, and I absolutely love that game, so you can expect a lot of coverage of Ghost Recon Breakpoint as well. So it has to be said that this is a true sequel to Wildlands. Everything we loved about that game has been brought over to Breakpoint, including the world. When I say including the world, it's a brand new open world, but it's just as big, just as detailed, and just as diverse as Wildlands was. So Nomad from Wildlands is back as well, which is pretty exciting. Good to see him back. And it's pretty much exactly what I wanted from a Wildlands sequel. A richer story, which I kind of talked about in my Wildlands video, more survival elements, multiplayer at launch, and more vehicles to choose from, and that is only kind of the tip of the iceberg. And finally, they are adding rocket launchers in the game. I just kind of want to say this to all the people that were hating me so much on my predictions for Wildlands 2, that were saying, Vadact, what the hell are you talking about? A rocket launcher in a Ghost Recon game that is all about stealth? Well, Jimmy, guess what we've got in Ghost Recon Breakpoint? It's a goddamn rocket launcher. That's what I loved about Wildlands. You know, you could take things stealthy or you could just go guns blazing, and looks like those options are still gonna be there. So having rocket launchers in the game did kind of make sense to me. If you wanna go with the louder approach, you know, when shit kicks the fan, you wanna be able to take out some of the vehicles that they were throwing at you. So let's talk a little bit about the story. So it's set on a fictional island of Aroa, which appears to be one major island with 5 smaller ones surrounding it, all different biomes for deserts, jungles, forests, snowy mountains, and even an active volcano, which is going to be an interesting environment to fight in. So it's owned by a tech company called Scale Technology that has been teased in the previous games in the form of like little Easter eggs and the little videos and whatnot, and you are no longer the only Spec Ops unit in the game. Wolves will be sent out to kill you in the game, which are like the new elite ops, which look absolutely amazing. Honestly, the art department, I think they've done an amazing job. They just look badass. Kind of reminds me of the Fallen Ghost DLC from Ghost Recon Wildlands. It is kind of identical, how you crash, you know, behind enemy lines. That's kind of how the game starts. You crash behind enemy lines and then you're basically hunted down by these things. So it's gonna be pretty amazing. Honestly, I am definitely digging this, and with all the gameplay changes that they're adding, I think it's gonna be one hell of a game. So let's talk about some of the gameplay changes then. So this time around, it looks like it's gonna have heavier focus on stealth and realism, which I think is kind of what we wanted from Wildlands, because the Wildlands stealth was pretty good, I'm not gonna lie, but a lot of people were nitpicking that the ghillie suits didn't really make much of a difference and that sort of stuff. So hopefully that's gonna change, and by the looks of things, it is going to change. So one cool feature is the prone camo ability, being able to cover yourself in mud while proning. Probably gonna go for other biomes as well, so probably cover yourself in snow, in like sand, whatever. No matter what environment you're in, you're probably gonna be able to cover yourself, unless you're maybe just proning on the road. Then yeah, that'd be kind of weird if you all of a sudden start picking up dirt from nowhere to cover yourself in it. So injuries are a thing now, big part of the game, like a massive change. I feel like it could get a little bit annoying, but it adds so much more realism into the game. Essentially, if you get hit, your character is gonna react differently. So for example, making you less accurate, only being able to fire from the hip, and the worst one of all, it can actually make you limp about. So running away will not really be an option. Sometimes you actually have to make a stand, kind of hunker down, either heal up or just keep on fighting. Firing from the hips, maybe rely on your squad to come and rescue you or something like that. But that just looked amazing in the trailer. I'm really looking forward to actually like seeing how it feels in the game, because like I said, at the beginning it could be like a really cool mechanic, but then it's gonna be kind of like an annoying gimmick. We'll have to kind of wait and see how that's gonna play out. So you'll be able to craft bandages and heals to keep yourself fighting, so that's gonna be pretty cool, crafting in the game. I hope there isn't gonna be like a massive heavy focus on crafting, because I'm not a big fan of crafting in these types of games. It seems like they just have to shove crafting into every single game out there, so hopefully it's not gonna be like a massive part of the game. but it's still gonna be there, so it's still gonna have like a little bit of depth, if you know what I mean. So you'll be able to set up camps in the game in order to change up your classes, which is gonna be interesting. Obviously replenish all of your supplies, probably change out your loadout and that sort of stuff. It's kind of interesting that they're going down the route of having classes in the game this time around. From the trailer, it does look like there's like a sniper, an assault, potentially some sort of like a woman stealth chick, whatever you want to call her, and there was like a heavy guy in there as well, if I'm not mistaken. So I did enjoy the ability of just being able to carry any weapon you wanted in Wildlands, so I hope that's still going to be very much a thing in this game, but maybe the classes will give you buffs for specific weapons to give you like an incentive to play a specific type of weapon or whatnot. You can't just kind of change them on the fly, just set up your little camp and change the class, so I guess it's not going to be really that big of an issue, but still going to be interesting. So they said it's going to be 4 classes to choose from at launch, and then they're going to be adding more as the game kind of is released with content updates and whatnot. One little interesting thing is you can lean out of cover and shoot in third person now. If I'm not mistaken, in Wildlands, every time you leaned out of cover, it would automatically put you in first person. It's kind of cool to see that in third person now as well. One of my favorite new features is being able to cut through chain-linked fences. You have no idea how many times in Wildlands I either wanted to blow up that fence with C4 or something, or being able to jump over it, because going all the way around to find an entry point was just so annoying. And I mean, it just kind of makes sense to be able to cut through fences, you know? If you approach something stealthily, you want to go into a massive military compound, you don't want to go through the main entrance. I know they had little side doors and whatnot, but being able to actually cut through the fence is going to be such an amazing addition to the game. So another cool feature is the ability for you to carry your down teammates as well as hide enemy bodies if you want to take things stealthily. I think a lot of people have been asking for that. It's basically a lot of fan service in this, I've noticed. They've added a lot of things into the game that people were asking for on Reddit and videos and whatnot. And one big complaint for obviously a Ghost Recon stealth game is the ability or the lack of ability in Wildlands of carrying bodies. But finally, that is coming into the game, so you can hide your enemies' bodies, so you can properly take things stealthy, and also you can carry out your teammates out of harm's way if they're downed and whatnot. It's going to be interesting how that's actually going to play out, because I would imagine healing your teammate on the spot might be a little bit faster, rather than doing the whole animation of picking him up, carrying him out of harm's way, putting him down, and then healing him. So it's going to be interesting how that's going to actually play out. But it's cool to have that option nevertheless to add a little bit more realism. Takedowns have been improved. It looks like now it will matter if the enemy is alert or not when the takedown is performed. As I've noticed, whenever the enemy saw you coming towards them for a takedown, the takedown took forever, but I do have to say it looked absolutely incredible. The animations for them look so good and so brutal at the same time. It looks really awesome. So the main story will also have dialogue options for you, which is going to be kind of interesting to see how that's going to play out, if there's going to be multiple endings and whatnot. I feel like they're really trying to make everything kind of like Assassin's Creed open world formula, which I'm actually okay with that, because the recent Assassin's Creed games have been kind of amazing, I'm not gonna lie. So having kind of like an Assassin's Creed inspired Ghost Recon game, I know that sounds like a weird hybrid, but I'm basically talking about like a massive open world with plenty of side quest activities, all that sort of stuff in there, like a proper RPG with progression and all that sort of stuff, but in the Ghost Recon universe. It's something that I think is gonna play so nicely, because there's gonna be just so many things for you to do, because that was like one of the big complaints about Wildlands. Even though the world was huge, you had all these weapons and everything, the story missions and just the missions in general were just kind of very uninspired, I would say. So that was my big complaint. So it's so cool to see them focus more on the story missions and just like missions in general, adding more depth to them and hopefully more meaning, you know? So it's more of an emotional story for this game. So last but not least, we gotta talk about raids. So raids will be part of Breakpoint. We don't have much information about them, but the locations of the raids look absolutely insane. They look very kind of sci-fi futuristic, and I love that. I am kind of curious how they're gonna work. I hope they're gonna take this opportunity to basically send us to new locations, kind of similar how Far Cry New Dawn did it. I really hope they just go kind of crazy with that aspect of the game, you know, keeping the main game very realistic and grounded, but then that part of the game is just gonna be all-out sci-fi, you know? It's just kind of an opportunity for them to experiment with the game and try out new and different gameplay elements. I think that's just gonna be amazing. I kind of forgot to mention this, but also PvP is going to be part of the game at launch, which is massive for the game. I feel like that was Wildlands' big mistake, not having any sort of multiplayer mode at launch, because ultimately multiplayer is what's gonna keep people playing after they're done with like the single player story and everything, and having that component and then being able for them to add to it as players are kind of, you know, getting bored of single player, they're moving over onto multiplayer, and there's already plenty of content there. I think that's gonna be massive for this game, so I'm really looking forward to see how they're gonna progress with that and what it's actually going to be. I do also want to talk about a little nitpick that I have with the game, and that is the camera. The camera was a little bit weird in that gameplay reveal. I felt like it was way too close to the character you were playing as. It seemed to obstruct a lot of your vision on the left side of the screen, so I am kind of hoping it is temporary. It is alpha gameplay, so hopefully that's gonna change. I just hope they kind of zoom it out. I know they want to go for a more kind of immersive feel, closer to the action. You feel like more stuff is happening because basically it seems faster, you know? But I do hope they kind of zoom it out a little bit, because I still want to be able to see around me what's going on instead of seeing like a large portion of the character taking up the left side of the screen. So we'll have to wait and see if that gets addressed, but overall I'm very impressed with the trailer. Honestly, everything we had in Wildlands, like the weapons, the customization, the world, everything is there, and the new vehicles that are gonna get added into the game. Honestly, I am so excited for this. I am super excited. So stay tuned to the channel, everybody, because we'll be doing plenty more coverage of this game. Hopefully get some early access gameplay. I'm crossing my fingers. I mean, Ubisoft did take me out to a couple of events specifically for Ghost Recon Wildlands. So fingers crossed we're gonna have some early Breakpoint footage for you guys as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Check out my sponsor, Instant Gaming. The link to that is gonna be in the description if you guys wanna pick up some really cheap games and support the channel in the process. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you're gonna have a wonderful day, and I shall see you guys next time. Take care, goodbye. Bye 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 bye.